It's been about a year since the Biden administration, on a hasty withdrawal from Afghanistan, pulled our military forces. It was only last summer where the Taliban, in about 30 days, advanced on Afghanistan and took the entire country. About that time, our auditors at OpenTheBooks.com had done an oversight report on United States foreign aid. And we found that out of 170 countries receiving U.S. foreign aid, Afghanistan was number one. Every single year, we were putting about $6 billion, courtesy of the United States taxpayer, into Afghanistan. So as the Taliban advanced on Afghanistan, we had one question: how much U.S. military gear was potentially being left behind? And our auditors nailed that number a year ago. We looked through audit reports of the Special Inspector General of Afghan Reconstruction, and we found the number: $82.9 billion worth of U.S. war gear and training over the course of 20 years into the Afghan National Army and the Afghan National Security Forces. This became international news. My couple of columns at Forbes racked up nearly 700,000 page views. I did 3 minutes live on the BBC. 8 segments on Fox News ran it wall to wall. And even the Washington Post, when they fact-checked politicians, was going to our oversight at OpenTheBooks.com. So over a 20-year period, just how much U.S. treasure was poured into the tiny country of Afghanistan? A University of Brown study says it's close to $2 trillion, but it was much more than the money. Our experience in Afghanistan came with a significant human cost: 22,000 casualties of our fighting men and women, 2,400 fatalities of our servicemen and women. So in Afghanistan, what U.S. initiative was running well? Could it have been our anti-narcotics campaign? Well, we spent 15 years, about $10 billion, running an anti-narcotics campaign in Afghanistan, with no measurable results. At the end of the 15 years, even the United Nations classified Afghanistan as a narco state. Poppy sales soared. We poured $82.9 billion in war gear and training into the Afghan National Security Forces and the Afghan National Army. And those forces were defeated in days as the Taliban overran Afghanistan and the U.S. military operation left the turf. Here's a great example of how things worked in Afghanistan. In 2017, the Special Inspector General for Afghan Reconstruction did an audit and found $174 million of expensive, sophisticated drones were missing. Nobody knew where they went. Yet in each presidential budget, in every year, 2018, 19, all the way to 2022, tens of millions of dollars more in expensive Scan Eagle sophisticated drones were appropriated back to Afghanistan. They had lost $174 million, and yet the dollars kept flowing. In 2014, our embassy realized that the security compound protecting it was 1.5 miles away, and because the city was so dangerous in Kabul, that was too far. So they appropriated $170 million to build a closer security facility on the footprint of the embassy. Smart move, except they hired a contractor with no large general contracting experience. Immediately the project was behind schedule and there was cost overruns. When it was supposed to be completed in 2016, it was less than 10% completed. By 2017, it hit the 10% marker and they pulled the plug. The United States taxpayer lost $103 million. The Biden administration's hasty withdrawal from Afghanistan turned the Taliban into a major U.S. arms dealer for the next decade. Here's a breakdown of the weaponry over a 20-year period provided to the Afghan National Security Forces by the U.S. taxpayer. It was 600,000 weapons. That includes 350,000 rifles, M16s and M4s, 64,000 machine guns, 25,000 grenade launchers, and 2,600 mortars and howitzers. A howitzer is a modern-day cannon. It can take out a road, a bridge, or an airport runway. We left behind 75,000 military vehicles. That's 50,000 light and medium tactical vehicles, 22,000 Humvees. Each Humvee cost, on average, $92,000 apiece. We left behind 1,000 mine-resistant vehicles. The cost on those range from between $300,000 to $750,000 apiece. The US taxpayer had provided up to 208 aircraft. That's planes and helicopters. Each Black Hawk helicopter can cost up to $21 million. If we ever go back into Afghanistan, we have lost the nighttime advantage. We left behind up to 17,000 pieces of night vision equipment. So now a year later on the world stage, America, because of our hasty withdrawal from Afghanistan, we're a lot less safe. So over the course of the past year, we've all been treated to the Taliban selling tickets to their gun show. They're not very sophisticated, but they know how to monetize machine guns, grenade launchers, howitzers, mortars for their own bank accounts. Courtesy of the United States taxpayer, we spent $3.1 million building a women's police compound in Afghanistan. It was never used. We spent $1.5 billion building out the American embassy in Kabul. Then we lowered the flag and evacuated the country. The Bible says that the truth will set you free. The Bible doesn't say that the narrative will set you free. But the Biden administration was running a narrative a year ago that this was the most successful extraction of a military force in all of human history. And it wasn't true. Our auditors at OpenTheBooks.com used government audit reports, hard data, and the facts to shine a white-hot spotlight on the Biden administration. And we exposed the Biden administration for their hasty withdrawal from Afghanistan.